Dr. Shabir Ally, it's that time of year when Muslims are asked, are you celebrating Christmas? Where are your decorations? Are you going to Christmas parties? Are you buying gifts? And then the question is, how do you respond? So Muslims in Canada have many different kinds of responses to Christmas. So tell me about some of those, the ways in which Muslims approach Christmas.
Yeah, you're right in indicating that there are different approaches here, and there is no single clear directive from one Muslim leadership to say, well, this is how all Muslims should govern themselves at Christmas. But if we start with some basics, then some things will become clear. So one basic is that Muslims have to believe in Jesus. The Quran is very clear about this. It mentions Jesus by name 25 times throughout the Quran. The story of his special birth is mentioned both in the 3rd chapter of the Quran and the 19th chapter of the Quran. In both places, we read that the angel comes to Mary, gives her the good news that she will have a child, and she asks, how can I have a child when no mortal has touched me? And she's told, in essence, that God does what he wants. When he decides to create something, he only gives the word, and it happens. And so Muslims understand that Jesus, on whom be peace, was a great prophet of God. He is God's messenger. He's even called Messiah in the Quran. He did many miraculous deeds, and towards the end of his life on this earth, there was a plot to assassinate him, but God raised him to himself, and many Muslims believe that Jesus will even come again in the future. So the belief in Jesus is well entrenched in Islamic tradition and theology, and a Muslim wouldn't be a Muslim without believing in Jesus. But then what about the date of his birth? This is not clear from the Quran itself, and in studying history, Muslims do not become convinced that the actual date within a year in which Jesus was born could be determined. Even the actual year of his birth is not known for sure. Now, of course, it's all around us. We know that December 25th is celebrated as the birthday of Jesus, and devout Christians will go to their churches to go to attend special mass at this time. What are Muslims supposed to do?
So what are they going to do? I mean,
yes.
They are a minority living in a country that's a Christian majority country. Christianity is present everywhere. You see Christmas decorations everywhere. There's a festive spirit. Songs are being sung. It's an exciting time of the year for everyone. And people are happy, joyful. People are giving to each other. It's a good time of year. I have to admit, I love this time of year because I get really excited as well. So how do Muslims deal with it?
So here again, the answer is not easy, but we can say that you've just identified many good things about Christmas. The spirit of cheerfulness, of joy, of giving, of caring for other people.
Family.
For a family and all of that. Many Muslims will find during the holiday period that this is the perfect time to get together with family and friends, to have a dinner together. It may not be necessarily called a Christmas dinner, but nonetheless, it is this time of year, and it's unavoidable. You cannot deny that this is the season, and this is what it is known for.
People have time off as well at this time of year.
You have time off. Yeah. Many will benefit from the Christmas, pre-Christmas sales, the Boxing Day sales, and so on. Looking at it more clearly from the lenses of theology, like what can we prescribe for Muslims, it seems to me that where Muslims are in this environment, then we need to do a little bit of rethinking. We cannot just simply say we're going to isolate ourselves. In the medieval period, some Muslim scholars say you can't even say Merry Christmas. If you say Merry Christmas, this is like encouraging Christians to go ahead and worship Jesus. But this is far from reality. And that's
I thought Merry Christmas came about, much later than the medieval period.
Well, Ibn Taymiyyah, a notable scholar, died in the year 1328. Is said to have remarked that you can't greet Christians on this holiday.
Okay.
Now, whether the specific expression "Merry Christmas" was there or not, but he thought that to greet Christians at this time would mean to encourage them to commit what in Islamic law be deemed as shirk or associating partners with God. But if, as I'm trying to say, this is far from reality, because Christians wish Muslims happy Eid or whatever they know to say, they're going to say because they want to wish you well, especially when it's your holiday. Why could this not be reciprocated? We're human beings at the core. Before the labeling of religion separates one from the other. So we're not encouraging people to worship another deity but God, but we're wishing people well at any time of the year, and especially at this time when they are actually joyful. Why not wish them all, all the more power to you, all the more joy to you. We feel happy that you are happy, and so on. But why couldn't Muslims themselves be happy at this time, knowing that one of the great prophets of God is being honored at this time, even if some people go overboard in honoring, and of course not everybody does. There are Christians who are Unitarians. They consider that there is only one God, and Jesus is a prophet of God. They may use terms that are not familiar to Muslims, like Son of God, and they may mean by that a metaphorical sense. In any case, Muslims can take control of this holiday in their own way as well. Muslims can have their own narrative and say, okay, this is a holiday that marks the birthday of Jesus, and we Muslims believe in Jesus, so we're going to have lectures, we're going to have events that mark the annual celebration of the birthday of Jesus, and in this way, the world will come to know that Muslims do actually believe in Jesus. Now,
so where do you get to the stage where you say, well, it's too, you're going too far now? So my friend has her son in preschool, and she told me that he's writing letters to Santa Claus. And then the question is, well, how do we maintain our identity, especially with our children growing up in a non-Muslim environment? How do we maintain that identity when Christmas is all around us?
Yes. So
and kids get excited.
Yes.
Kids get excited. They they love Santa Claus. They like the idea of presents, the colors. Everything's exciting for kids, right?
Yeah. So if we didn't have our cultural identity and we just wanted to copy everybody else and do what everybody else is doing, then this would be really going off the path. Because, if we look at what defines a particular person, we say, okay, this is what the person does. But if what defines the individual is that this individual prays like Muslims pray, they fast as Muslims do in the month of Ramadan, they perform Hajj, they give charity as Muslims do, they celebrate the Muslim Eid festivals, they come to the mosque, they pray, and so on. So this then becomes the most defining aspects of this person's identity. So along with that, it wouldn't be harmful if one does things which are good within the Islamic tradition or harmless within the Islamic tradition, and at the same time makes Muslims feel comfortable within the environment in which they are.
I think I would say the limit is that you don't want to celebrate Christmas thinking that you subscribe to that religious ideology, right?
Yes. It's not that it's within our own religious ideology that we believe in Jesus. He's the messenger of God. He's a prophet and messenger, and we don't know his actual birthday. But if everyone else is celebrating his birthday, why should we withhold from that? Now I say that only from a theological perspective. It's not what I do. I do not personally, I must admit, celebrate Christmas, and I didn't teach my kids to celebrate Christmas.
Yes, we haven't celebrated
Christmas.
Christmas.
As I reared my kids, we especially in those days, I was a radical myself, quite,
a little bit more of a radical Muslim than you are today. Yes, that's true.
And I tried to keep myself, my family, my kids on the straight and narrow. Everything had to be defined very strictly in terms of historical elaborations of the Islamic faith, and that made me what I am, made my kids what they are, and I'm not knocking that, but I'm asking, is that...
It's always good to have that strong identity as well, right?
Yes.
Especially when you're in an environment that's different from you.
Yeah, but when I speak now, I'm speaking more generally. There's a wide spectrum of Muslims, and can we prescribe the same thing for everyone? And and I know that I can't prescribe the same thing for everyone, because it's only a very few people who are going to be able to maintain the kind of strict standards that I have tried to maintain for myself.
And then if you think about people who, for example, have become Muslims and their entire family is not Muslim, for example.
We say you go to the Christmas dinner, but eat what is halal, and definitely don't drink what is haram. And be with the family and
enjoy yourself.
Exactly, enjoy yourself and let them enjoy your presence. You go into the shopping malls and the Christmas carols are ringing through your ears. If there is something objectionable, like it calls for the worship of Jesus from a Muslim point of view, you would have to say, okay, I can't have that ringing in my head. But most of the carols are just about joy, about good cheer, and so on. And if they're ringing in your head, don't feel like there's a shaitan in me, you know. Otherwise, you're going to feel like fish out of water. You're going to be feeling very displaced, and that's not a healthy feeling for Muslims to have, you know, and to have recurring again and again.
Thank you for sharing your thoughts, Dr. Shabir Ally.
You're welcome.